Speaker is Miss Amy Jane Hawkins, entrepreneur and owner of Generation Strategies. She's been involved in statewide politics for 20 years. Her business, launched in 2015, exists to serve causes, conservative campaigns, and clients toward more effective communications. Amy's managed communications, built coalitions, and grown outreach for Republicans and conservatives throughout the state, with recent statewide efforts including Let Michigan Kids Learn, Secure Michigan Vote, and Unlock Michigan. She has developed relations with media, created and managed programs, trained candidates, coordinated events, fundraised for causes and candidates, managed teams, orchestrated administrative operations, and produced multifaceted strategic plans. She's worked extensively in social media, built websites, overseen email campaigns. And her previous experience, where I met Amy the first time, was as the political director and then executive director for Citizens for Traditional Values. Please help me welcome Amy Hawkins.
Thank you. What an honor. So we are nearing the end of the program, so if anybody needs to get up and stretch, feel free to do that. Get the jiggles out. We're just going to go through, I've got some quick announcements to make. I'm going to give you a quick inspirational piece, I hope, and you're near the tail end. So first of all, thank you so much for being here today. I don't know if some of you have realized how many legislators that have been among you. Many of them have now had to leave to go back to session. But if you will bear with me, I'd like to acknowledge those that there are so many legislators that support you. A former legislator, former state senator Tom Barrett is here, I know for sure. Tom, where are you? We will have him go to like the red tent if anybody'd like to say hi to him. He is a huge fan for Homeschool Freedom. But let me run through the list of the leaders that have been here to show their support. State Representative Jamie Thompson. These are representatives: Jerry Nair, Matt Maddock, Tom Cadera, Greg Alexander, Tim Beeson, Kurt Vanderway, Ann Bolin, Senators Mike Weber, in addition to State Representative Steve Cara, Nancy DeBoyer, Jay DeBoyer, James DeSana, Andrew Fink, Joseph Fox, Jamie Green, Mike Hoadley, Gina Johnson, Sarah Leitner, Greg Markinen, David Martin, Luke Meerman, Brad Paquette, Brian Posthumus, Angela Regas, Representative Roth, Kathy Schmaltz, Bill G. Schuette, Rachel Smith, Penelope, I'm so sorry, I'm going to butcher your name, Cernogu, State Senator Joe Bellino, John DeMoose, Ruth Johnson, Jonathan Lindsay, Ed McBroom, Jim Runstead, Lana Tights, Roger Victory. Give them a hand of applause. And you, because you matter. I don't know if anybody is aware of this. When they have organized this previously, there were 20 families. Today, the registration was over 200 families. They are already have on the calendar, so all you awesome mama and papa bears, get your calendars out. October 2nd of 2024, I believe they will confirm the date, but that's what it looks like. October 2nd is going to be the next gathering here. So how many of you, show of hands, you know homeschool families that are not here with you today? Show of hands. Your mission is for us to multiply so there is no green grass in a year. Okay? How's that for a goal? So, as Mike said, I am a proud homeschool alum. I was homeschooled all the way through. And the perspective that I bring today, first of all, you are all an answer to prayer. I don't know if you understand how much you have been missed. And I will explain that as I go through this very quickly. What you are experiencing here today, it's not just about this moment. I hope you understand that. It's not just about this moment, it's about a lifetime. What you're experiencing here today is not just about who is standing in front of you, but generations to come. Do you understand that what we are talking about today is not about your right to homeschool now, it's about generations to come. What you treasure today, your homeschool freedom to parent and to do as you wish, is not just about this moment or about your freedom. It's about freedom in general and its continuation. Friends, we have a massive problem. And if you are about to sense a heaviness in the air, that means I'm doing my job. In your hands today, you should have all received a citizen guide. If you did not, go back to the red tent and you get one. It changes with the legislature, so as you look through this and put it on your calendar every 2 years to get a new one. Your mission today was to come and to learn and to connect with legislators and to understand that this is what I want you to understand. If you catch hold of this vision and catch hold of the crisis we are in as a state. This, my friends, today is the beginning of a new adventure that is going to radically change your life with so much joy, so much multiplication of good relationships, if you will join me. We need you. And before I talk to you about why and what's happening, let me give context. I was homeschooled in the 80s and 90s. Yes, I'm old. I was homeschooled in the 80s and 90s. Before my family moved to Michigan, my mother was calling the superintendent nearby to say, what do you think about home education? Are we going to be okay homeschooling in this area? He was friendly to us. But my friends were hiding behind their homes when the school bus went by. We had to be careful when we went out and about that we were obvious we were not in school. We'd walk into a big store and people would say, why are all four of you out of class? We grew up in a day and age when freedom to homeschool was not guaranteed. What did my mom teach me? That freedom to homeschool is not guaranteed. That I need to know my elected leader why. So that they could know me on a relationship level, so that if ever there was a moment that I needed to ask them to lobby on my behalf to protect our freedom to homeschool, that they knew me. So guess who was walking in parades and doing door to door and making phone calls and building relationships with the legislators? Why? Little did I know that God would call me to work in the political arena, but the reason it was so holy and important was that if our freedoms became in trouble, State Senator so-and-so and State Representative so-and-so would know when Jan Hawkins picks up the phone, I need to pay attention. She's volunteered. I know her. That was my history. We had to be careful of what we said because, like Mr. Coleman just highlighted, many of you children do not know, understand, but hopefully you will as you study history, not as you experience it. That many people have not always had the right to homeschool. Parents have been taken away. Parents have been threatened. It has not always been the popular thing. But because of leaders like Dave Coleman and many others, they laid the foundation so that homeschoolers could know Michigan as one of the best places to homeschool. So the fact that you have not had to be here for 20 or 30 years, that is because of Dave Coleman and all the other leaders that have laid this incredible foundation for you. You have had freedom because people laid the foundation and they put in the work, but guess what? How many know this? Freedom is not guaranteed. We stand now on a very scary precipice, and this is what you need. I need you to take back to your homeschool families, and I need you to feel this in the pit of your stomach. I have worked in politics for 20 years. I have loved my time working along the good men and women that are in this arena. There are so many God-fearing men and women in here that they are doing their best to understand the process, to build relationships, to find things they can agree on. It takes so much work to get elected to serve in here. It takes so much work to keep your constituents happy. It takes so much work to stay in here. With the last election, there became a change of leadership. And the leadership now do not fully understand the importance of home education. They do not understand the importance of parental rights. They do not understand the value of educational choice. Like one of the speakers mentioned today, no matter what you believe, we want you to have the freedom to educate how you think is best. So just so you know, for those of you as you study the Citizen Guide and some of you students, my challenge to you is you go back today and spend the next couple weeks and you study how a bill becomes law. You study it, you drill your parents on it, you drill your grandparents on it, because that's what we have to understand. It's one thing to introduce a piece of legislation, it's another thing to make it law. So before you today, this is what is at threat. You can have today a state representative, let me put it this way, you could have the governor who does not yet understand the holy value of home education. She could call up a state representative and she could say, I would like there to be a bill that is going to regulate home educators, that is going to show up at their doors and start checking things off. A state representative could say, I'm on it, because those that are in leadership in the House and the Senate, they control the chambers. They control the chambers and they control the committees. So guess what? This bill could make its way quickly through the committee, no matter how many of your friends that love home education push back on it. They don't have, a lot of them don't have the control, right? So you get a bill that goes through the committee, it goes to the House floor, the Senate picks up the bill. A bill could be on the governor's desk in a week that says, add more regulations, start to require more details of home educators, start to say that they can't teach certain things. If you think I'm joking, you ask anybody with the MiCHN team. If you are feeling like, is she a little crazy? No, because here's why. How do I know this? I'm watching the trajectory of what they've been doing for the past few weeks. They are driving an agenda that says we want abortion on demand, no regulations. We don't care about religious freedom. We don't care about private property. We want our agenda passed and we want it done aggressively. So homeschoolers, I'm telling you, there are some of America's leaders that have had you in the crosshair for years, and they may see their crack in the wall that they might be able to come after you now. Except, whenever there's a problem, God always has a solution. For all I know, and I could cry about this probably if I thought about it, for all I know, my 20 years of serving and building relationships could be for this moment. That I can stand as a watchman on the wall and say, beloved homeschoolers, treasure what you have, but recognize that what you have is not guaranteed. It is precious. It is holy. So start to get involved now. Understand the process. Reach out to your legislators, not with rants, but asking, letting them know, we're praying for you. How can we help? How can we get to know you more? Showing up at their town hall meetings. Showing up when you get a leader that you like, that they're championing your ideas. You need to be interviewing candidates. If you see somebody running for state house, city council, township, you as homeschoolers need to go to them and say, what do you think about education freedom? Because you see, Michigan has been known as a champion state for homeschool freedom. We stand now at a crossroad, and I invite you to go down one direction with me. But let me tell you your options. One, you could walk away from today and say, well, that was fun. Never doing that again. There's a lot of, yeah, that was great. We're checking that off. Or you can choose the route with me and MiCHN and so many others and say, you know what? God has created me for such a time as this. My educational rights, my parental rights are God-given gifts. I am not going to shirk from this moment in history. I am going to do what I can to better understand the Constitution, better understand how bills become law, better understand who's leading and making decisions. I'm going to show up at town hall meetings. I'm going to find out, how can I run for office for county commission? How can I build relationships? Why? Because in a week, in 6 weeks, in 6 years, and you get a legislator that says, we want to regulate homeschooling. Guess what happens when their lines start to flood with homeschool families from their district and say, remember, I was there helping you. Remember, I was praying for you when your mom was sick. Remember, I was there. Please don't vote this way. That is going to have massive impact. Before I end, let me say this. With every time that we recognize a challenge, I strongly believe that God is the giver of solutions and He's the giver of miracles. So what I want you to do is to understand that because of the current makeup of the leadership, we do face a very scary road. But what I'm inviting you is to join people like me and others in saying we're choosing the road of solution that is going back to our districts, to roll up our sleeves, to cast a vision to homeschool families. Do you guys understand how important you are? These legislators, some of them would give their right hand to have you walking in parades with them, showing up and stuffing envelopes and building relationships with them. When you call and you say, I'm a homeschool leader of 20 families, they listen because you represent voters and you represent constituents. They care about you, but we can't hide anymore. We have to fill every blade of grass. We have to make sure that homeschool families are showing up, not with picket signs, but with smiles, and saying, we're happy warriors. We love our freedom so much that we'll show up to serve and we'll show up to be a part of the solution. And we have to see ourselves as being people that love beyond our kitchen table. The communities around us in Michigan are greatly hurting. And my challenge to you is, and someone else mentioned this today, where do I start? We start, first of all, with recognizing the smallest unit of government is not your township, it's not your school board, it's not your county commission, it's what's going on the inside of you. Who is Lord of your life? Who is the governing authority of your life? Because what rules, that spills out. Second thing is, you stand on the front porch and you say, do I know the names of all my neighbors? How can I build relationships with them? And then the third thing is, you're recognizing, who are my elected leaders? How can I pray? How can I be a part of? So as you walk away from today, here's my challenge to you. One, recognize the challenge we stand at the crossroads because of the current makeup of the leadership. Pray for these people. Regardless of party, build relationship with these people. Recognize they have dreams, they have families, they have a soul. Their lives matter. Get creative and winsome in how you build relationships. But I beseech you, please do not wait until the very 11th hour when we are desperate to sound the alarm. Because that call could come in a week. If God is favorable, it won't come for another 100 years. But we have to be prepared. So one, as we walk away from today, we're going to choose, we're not walking in fear. We're walking in wisdom and understanding. We love our freedoms and we're going to keep them. Second, latch on to MiCHN and latch on to these citizen guides. Latch on to all the resources and the organizations that they direct you to because they know who to trust and what leadership. When it comes time for voter guides, get involved. If you don't know, ask a question. We've got to mobilize. Study the information. Kids, if you're like, I don't like history, I challenge you, make it your new passion. We have to understand where we've come from in order so that we know where we're going. And then build relationships. And finally, please do all that you can to show up in your community. But Amy, we've chosen to homeschool. But I'll end on this. Who we are as Americans, we stand on the shoulders of so many. And God has created us for such a time as this. The solutions and hope that you have buried inside of you, other people are hungry to tap into it. And the light that you bring when you show up to a school board meeting, walking into a county commission meeting for 30 minutes, showing up at the mayor's office to say, we just wanted to say hi, how are you doing? Those are bright lights to them. You're putting a pebble in their shoe. You're asking questions that will start to get them to think differently. Friends, the freedom you have, the rights you have as parents and as children who will be parents someday, it's a holy gift. Hold on to it with all you've got. Homeschool freedom needs to be here to stay for decades to come. But we need you with us in this effort if we are going to preserve it for the next generation. Thank you.